Hello and welcome to Life in the Mind, a neurodivergent podcast by neurodivergent people. I'm Murray Spear.
And I'm Joy Amy Wigman.
And we are back with Danielle Lade. Say hello.
Hello.
Hello. You did it. Oh, well done. Good. That's the start we need.
For anyone who didn't listen to the last episode, they're going to be very confused.
What? I can't even remember. We recorded it ages ago.
Ages ago.
That's
It was
why.
a long time ago.
It was a long time ago.
It wasn't today.
No.
Certainly not today.
That's not how short my memory is.
Anyway, so normally our second episode with our guests, we pick a topic to talk about. And as we all have various different comorbidities, we thought we would talk about how our other conditions affect our neurodivergence. Just came out of a chat we were having this morning.
Yeah.
So Danielle, you were saying in your previous episode that you have epilepsy.
Yes.
And you're autistic. And it's sort of...
They are bedfellows.
Yeah.
Well, I say they're bedfellows. At points, medication has totally controlled the epilepsy. And therefore, I found it easier to sort of mask certain autistic traits.
Mm-hmm.
But it is now not managed. The epilepsy is now not managed. And I've then found it in I can't think of the word, Uber mode. Much harder to mask is probably the less crazy way round of saying that.
I mean, that makes a lot of sense because you're having so much more to process and just do day-to-day life if you're having to deal with your epilepsy not being managed. And
It's apparently very common for epileptics to have some sort of neurodivergence, like sort of autism, ADHD, or the other way around. It's common for autistic people with ADHD to have epilepsy. I can't really
There's
remember.
a comorbidity.
There's a
Yeah.
definite link kind of between the two. I've come across in all the forums.
must be all the vaccines. Ah! we very much don't believe in that. I'm just going to make sure everyone knows that's a joke.
It's weird because fibromyalgia is very similar in that there is a quite a high comorbidity between people with fibromyalgia and people who are autistic.
Yeah.
And also there are symptoms that have crossover. So things that I had attributed to fibromyalgia, I'm now able to look back and go, okay, is that the fibromyalgia? Is it the autism? Or is it just both lying on top of each other and going, hey, I've got you now.
Yeah, it can be so hard to pick out those things.
Although weirdly, I think of fibromyalgia as the fibromyalgia. It's not part of me. It's the thing that is attacking me.
Yes.
Whereas autism is something that I am.
Yep.
So I don't see them. Yeah, I look at them very differently. Like autistic is part of my personality, it's part of who I am. Fibromyalgia is the horrible thing that I would kick in the teeth if I could.
Yeah, that's interesting because I guess for me, I've got functional neurological disorder, which I think I might have talked about in a previous episode. But for me, I probably see that as also just a part of me. But I think it's because of my understanding of it, especially because I'm like, is this not just mismanaged ADHD and autism thing coming together and going, this is going to be interpreted in this way in your body. Great. Everything. But yeah, so you're autistic, but not fibromyalgic.
Yes. Yeah. That's sort of how I
That
see it.
sounds like a thing.
It's interesting as well because I also, I was diagnosed with complex PTSD about 6 or 7 years ago, and discovering how much of the stuff that I thought was fibromyalgia is actually the complex PTSD was also really interesting. So I think, and I found it very useful separating those two out because while fibromyalgia is not curable, complex PTSD can be managed.
Yeah.
So it's sort of a hope thing. It was like, this thing that's happening is not the incurable disorder that I have. It is the thing that I could potentially work my way out of.
Yeah, that's very relatable.
Yeah. It's funny. I've always thought of both as just the way that my brain works. I'm not sure whether I've... Yeah, epilepsy actually has been something that I have. Whereas autism, which is a sort of newer thing that I've been coming to terms with, I think I agree with you. It's a part of me. It's kind of how I work. Although I also think that things will change, hopefully, in that I don't think, I don't know, maybe this is a stupid thing to say. I'm not sure there is neurotypical. I think everyone works in a very different way. And if we were more, if the world was kinder, we could all kind of live in a way that's optimal for everyone.
For more people.
Yeah.
That thing of...
I think like the world was almost set up with like that one guy, like Alan, and that is how he worked. And so they were like, okay, yes, that's how the world will work. And then everyone else was like, oh, okay, I'm not Alan, but fine, I'll try. And we've all sort of been living by Alan's rules. I don't know who Alan is.
My granddad was called
I
Alan.
love it.
I don't
he
mean
was
to pick
a
on
wonderful
Alan.
person, but I think he would find that really quite funny.
Yeah, I'm
No one
sorry
is
to pick on
neurotypical
Alan.
anymore. They're
That's
just
fine.
living by Alan's rules.
Everyone, it's not neurotypical. It's just that guy.
Yeah.
They set
Well,
the rules
it's that
by.
thing of neurodivergence is only a disability when it exists in a world that doesn't work for it.
Yes.
And like
Yeah.
that just rings so true, because I think it's also that thing of the high low functioning labels. I personally have big issues with that, because I mean, partly from that kind of ethical thing of going, would you like to be called low functioning?
Yeah.
Is that a nice thing to call anyone? But also the variance in, so some days we'll be able to do anything, and when we're doing certain tasks, we'll be able to do this better than other people, and that changes depending on who you are. Then other days, I'm gonna need to stare at a wall for a few hours,
Yeah.
and that day I might not be able to speak or understand words, and that happens.
I find that's very, so with the epilepsy not being controlled on medication, there are some days where if I've had a couple of seizures, it doesn't take many issues. I'll get the right word eventually. It's fine. We'll edit it. I say we as if I'm
Take it out and post.
Yeah. It doesn't take much sort of epileptic activity to wipe me out. So I sometimes have to sleep for hours after a seizure, or I'll have these awful headaches where I cannot concentrate on anything at all. And that has been really bad this year, this last year, for a year. It's only a bit into the year. And then I've seen, I'm not doing this very well. But then with the autistic traits, I've realized, actually, sometimes I haven't paused to that was a really bad day as well, but I didn't give sort of the time.
Give it the space.
Whereas with epilepsy, it's a really clear, I've just had a seizure, I'm going to be a bit wiped out later on in the day. And so it's kind of getting to know how the two affect the other.
Yeah.
If you see what I mean.
And the signs,
absolutely.
Yeah.
It's so key to give. I think that was one of the biggest learning curves for me with the neurodivergence discovery, and it's still something I very much have to be super aware of, is giving the neurodivergence space and being like, actually, that day didn't go well for my ADHD brain because I had to sit still for the whole freaking day. And that day didn't go very well for my autism brain because it was led by my ADHD brain. But really being aware of that versus like if I have a bad F&D day and it's like, oh, I can't move. That's really obvious. That's a bad F&D day. That's unsubtle. But then that's now evolved, so that's less obvious, which is great fun.
Yeah, real fun.
But having it obvious makes such a difference. And learning, when we're only learning now as well, later in life, late diagnosed, that those things are valid. Those things are okay to give ourselves space for, rather than being like, and I need to crush that. That's okay. I struggled, but that was my problem.
Yeah.
That was my fault. That needs to just be crushed and taken.
Yeah.
And I need to just keep going. Unlearning that is such a
and there
difficult
being
one.
more information. So I remember a friend saying to me, and this is years back, I'd had an absence seizure, and then the next day I was like, I'm sorry, I can't take part. Can't even remember what it was. But I remember so clearly a friend being like, but you just had like a 6-second absence. Like, how are you like ill today? And I was like, well, I'm not ill as such, but I am exhausted. Like, my brain sort of was on the fritz for 6 seconds. So it comes across as a 6-second silence. There's a lot going on inside. It's not just that moment and then, oh, okay, it's done now, carry on with it. It has such a knock-on effect, which can sometimes last days. I mean, this time round, there's been many more, mostly at night. So my poor husband wakes up and like the fitted sheet is like off the bed and all sorts. So, but it has such a long-term, no, not a long-term effect. It has such an ongoing effect, but it is difficult to understand, or it's difficult for people to sort of to explain it to them, because to them, we were just sort of silent for a few seconds. So how is that having any kind of impact? But
it's why it's called an absence, though, isn't it? It's it's like you're absent. I guess for you, how do you experience those?
So for me, I just say, for example, if I had an absence like mid sentence, for me, I just say the sentence. However, most of the time, I say the sentence, but mid sentence, there's suddenly someone being like, "Are you all right?" kind of really close to me. And I think, oh, you've moved very close to me. Or it can be, so I think I spoke about this at one point. I was unloading the dishwasher once and had an absence. So I dropped like a pile of bowls, which all then broke. And we worry sometimes about stairs, because obviously it's much easier to fall downstairs during an absence, because my body will sometimes continue. So I will sort of, I can't think of a good way of explaining it, which is sort of part of my problem. But everything will sort of go on factory reset for a bit. But sometimes if I'm walking, I'll still be walking. So luckily, if I think, because sometimes I'll be walking to somewhere, and then I'll find myself on a road sort of going somewhere else. And I think, what on earth am I doing here? And it will just be that my body's sort of taken the easiest. So luckily I don't tend to cross roads, but I'll just be, if I'm going down that way and I need to cross a road, but then I have an absence at that point. So my body just goes, okay, well, the pavement continues this way, so let's just carry on that way. And I sort of find myself there. And then half the time I think, I do not remember where I was going or what I was doing. So it sort of affects the memory.
Yeah.
Does that have a knock-on effect, like on your autism?
Yeah, I was just wondering the same thing.
I'm not sure I know enough.
Okay.
I think so. I would say so, because I found it so December 2023, we're now 25. December 2023, I was company managing an event and I had 40 staff under me. My career was flying. I felt like, oh, this is great. I was doing 12-hour days, loving it, absolutely loving it. And then I had like an inner ear infection, and then the epilepsy came back. So this was January 2024. And then it has not gone away. Since January 2024, I've also suddenly found autistic traits on like volume 20. Whereas before they had been sort of a nice volume 4 where I can kind of mask it. It's okay that that's happening, or that's happening. I'll control that because I know that that's expected of me or whatever. So since the epilepsy came back, I've become a bit non-functional at all because of the epilepsy, but then it's also very much, I can't mask anything at all, and it seems very heightened.
I think there's definitely a lot to be said for the exhaustion that comes with another condition. Like if you're pouring all your energy into surviving something, you don't have the brain capacity and the energy to protect yourself from the things you need to protect yourself from. So like, I know I don't self-care on the autistic side very well if I've had a fibromyalgia flare-up. So I should be making sure that I'm steering clear of overstimulating places and noises and smells and things. And I forget to do that because I'm putting all my energy into surviving the fibromyalgia. My filters stop. So where I would normally try and put like a little like Instagram filter on what I'm saying before it comes out of my mouth, because if I said what I actually meant, it probably sounds really rude, but I'm just being straightforward.
Yeah.
But normally I put a filter on it, but I don't have the energy for the filter. So it just sounds like I'm cross at everybody.
Yeah. It does. It really feels like my brain chemistry's changed. Not necessarily so I'm a different person, but I don't understand how I did the things I used to do. I'm exhausted all the time, but I can't understand. Like I'll think about, I used to be on social media all the time. I was very active on social media. I was very active.
Yeah.
I would be organising lots of things. And I get so frustrated because I think, so like I turn 40 soon and I'm doing nothing because I think, oh, this would be a good idea. And then the idea of trying to plan it, trying to organise it, just awful. And I think I've sort of disappeared somewhat on, like, I used to have a really big circle of people I knew or people I saw quite often. I've sort of disappeared from it. And I don't even, it's such a strange thing to understand myself. I don't understand how I did it or how to go back to it, or if I want to go back to it, because I can't really function in the same way anymore. And so I know that I'll be, I don't know, letting those people, like I'll be totally different because I don't know how to function in that way. And at the same time, I don't want to put on them, like if I have a seizure, it's certainly not their responsibility to be first aid trained or, anything like that. Or if it's somebody's birthday, I have a seizure and fall down the stairs, I certainly don't want that person's birthday to then be about the first aid trip that everyone took to A&E with me. Like that's not what, and so I've just disappeared, but I don't know. I'd like to think maybe I'll get out a little bit, but I'm not sure I ever will because my brain chemistry is totally changed. But I don't know what is which.
Yeah.
How much is
you were mentioning before that you're also going through the menopause.
Yes.
Because that's an interesting segue from the brain chemistry changing angle.
Yeah. So the epilepsy has always been hormonally led. So the first time I found out when I was a teenager through adolescence, and then it was a problem when I was pregnant both times. But when my youngest was born, I was on all sorts of extra medication trying to manage it. Then she was born and it was almost like a light switch. The epilepsy was just not an issue after she was born.
Yeah.
It was very strange. And then it hasn't really been an issue. And then I started going through menopause. And again, it's reared its head. I won't say ugly head because I feel like that's cruel. But it's reared its head. And this time seems bigger. Or, the medication's not working.
Yeah,
So,
before
so
it
I don't
was-
know. Yeah, the
was
medication
managed.
was managing it before.
I think that's something that I'm going to definitely have to do like a rabbit deep dive on is like menopause and perimenopause and how it affects neurodivergence. Because I'd been having a lot of emotional meltdowns. I get a lot of overwhelm meltdowns, but I was having a lot of emotional ones.
Yeah.
And I'm on like a Facebook support group for women over 40, late diagnosed. And I put on there, like, is it to do with the weather, the time of the year? Do you get more emotional outbursts like this time of the year? And someone said, are you in perimenopause? And I knew that I was from other things. And it hadn't occurred to me how that would affect, how the hormonal change would link to the autism and the overwhelm and things like that.
Yeah.
So, I think that's going to be an interesting thing to look into.
It's definitely an interesting. They definitely seem to be linked to all of them. So I think menopause is quite linked to epilepsy. A lot of women find that epilepsy becomes a problem. So it's so interesting to see that it becomes a problem during menopause, also becomes a problem with neurodivergence, which also becomes more of an issue in menopause. So it's all sort of this really strange neurological tangled web, which I feel at the moment I feel directly in the center. Or I feel like I'm just sort of caught in the web, and I'm just going, okay, that's fine. I'll just stay here. I'll just be here.
Yeah.
I don't have the energy to try and untangle this, so I'll just stay.
That's very valid.
Yeah.
It sounds like it is incredibly valid with all your processing, all that you're having to process and just kind of go through at the moment whilst you're riding.
Yeah,
well,
I think also my biggest concern, I feel awful for my support network, because so my husband, like I said, he's become my carer essentially. I mean, he's even, he's like outside
wandering
about just in case, and will be there because I'll come out and I've like really enjoyed myself and had a great time. I'll get home and I'll be exhausted. And he is great at reading the signs. So sometimes before I get a seizure, one of my pupils will become more dilated than the other. And so he'll be like, sit down. But he knows more about it than I do, really, because he sees it, whereas I'm sort of blissfully unaware of how things go. Yeah. So I think I also feel really for him, and anyone that has to see me. That's a sad way of
we were chatting
it.
a little bit before we started recording about how that kind of, like you're saying, that worry of the stresses on your support network, how much of a thing that is. Because if you have any condition that gives some sort of uncertainty to your life, then how much you have to carry some sort of worry with you at all times. So when you think kind of the worst case scenario, whenever you go out and do something and then go, oh, but I do have to think in that way.
It's the guilt.
And then think on other people.
Yeah. Exactly. It's future guilt. Like I'm having a rougher time with the fibromyalgia at the moment, going through a bit of a flare. And but I'm constantly thinking I have to keep going because I cannot put this on my support network right now.
Yeah.
They're too busy. They cannot cope with an extra layer of stuff. I have to keep going, which means I push, which means that I'm sicker for longer. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. I literally had a conversation with my parents yesterday about that, and my support network is currently strained, and so that means I pull back. But actually it ends up impacting, especially on the neurodivergent side down the line. Like for me, like you were saying earlier, in terms of one flares up and so you forget the others, like the autism is the one that loses out. I think partly because ADHD brain, it's easier to take care of. I think that's a smaller part of my brain. if you had to balance out the autism, ADHD, I'm more autism. But yeah, I have to pay attention to the F&D, and then ADHD kind of gets taken care of by me taking care of the F&D, because I go and sit down, look after myself, slow down. But the autism brain isn't looked after, and so that loses out, and that flares up. That triggers my CPTSD, and then so it's remembering that even though our support networks may seem strained, and that we may feel that we're putting a lot on them, and that maybe they don't have that that they'll be there for them. They'll be there for us.
Yeah.
That's probably a nice place to stop, actually.
Yeah.
And to wrap things up. It has been so lush talking to you,
It's
Danielle.
been really nice to chat to you both.
And hopefully that will have sparked a few comments in you guys at home. Tell us how you deal with your comorbidities and your feelings about your support network and that kind of stuff.
And what comorbidities you have, because it's always interesting to hear what comes up with one. I think there's so much correlation that is yet to be recognised between all these lovely, lovely things that go on in our brain.
Yeah, our lovely soup.
Brain soup.
Brain soup. Okay, thank you again, Danielle.
Yeah,
Thank you.
you.
Thank you.
We'll see you lot next week.
Bye-bye.
Okay, folks, that's it for this episode. You can follow us on Instagram at life.inthemind. Our other socials are linked in our bio. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. See you next time.